Hello everyone! Today I'll be giving a proper review of WRATH of Rakshasa, which is a 2025 Bolliger Mabillard dive coaster located at Six Flags Great America in Gurnee, Illinois. I recently made a video ranking the roller coasters at this park from my least favorite to favorite, so if you'd like to check out that video, the card will be located in the top right corner of the screen. In that video, I rank WRATH of Rakshasa pretty high, but I recently got some rides on it, and I think my opinion has changed a little. The footage is going to be repetitive, so I apologize for that. I had more footage, but my phone decided to delete it for no apparent reason. I'll try to be quick with my review, so let's go ahead and get into it. For starters, WRATH of Rakshasa has my favorite color scheme in the entire park. The blue and yellow paint looks fantastic and really stands out amidst the rest of the rides. It's also a huge ride and it crosses over the pathways multiple times, so it really has a noticeable presence in the park. The theming, in my opinion, is also really unique, and even though it's nothing too crazy, I appreciate that they didn't just plop down the ride and call it a day. The ride at least has a little bit of queue theming. Before I dissect the layout, I want to talk about the vest restraints for a second, because I normally find these a bit claustrophobic. However, for whatever reason, on this ride, I don't feel like they're as tight. I can't speak for others, but I don't notice any discomfort from the seats or restraints themselves while riding. So the ride begins with a right turn out of the station, and then the train ascends a 180-foot lift hill. The lift hill is incredibly fast. I really appreciate that because it cuts down the ride time and makes operations faster. When you reach the top, you meander a bit and have time to take in your view. Then you're held in place by a brake and forced to stare down at your imminent death for about 5 seconds. WRATH of Rakshasa is the only dive coaster I've been on so far, and I know all dive coasters have this feature. It's literally why they're called dive coasters. But I can't imagine getting used to this no matter how many of this model I ride. Staring at the drop beforehand is pretty gnarly, and it's easily the scariest moment of any ride in this park, at least for me. Maybe the launch on Max Force is pretty comparable, but I think those are the only two elements on any ride in this park that really kind of freak me out. I don't have a problem with drops at all, but heights still kind of get to me. The drop is 171 feet down and always catches me by surprise a bit. It's also at an insanely steep angle of 96 degrees, meaning it actually goes inward as opposed to straight down. I think I would actually like the drop more if it was at a perfect 90 degrees, but either way, I still have fun every time. Next is an Immelman with a lot of force. Following this is a dive loop that's not as forceful overall, but the train flies through it with a good amount of speed, and I really enjoy the view coming down out of it. All the elements up until this point are near flawless in my opinion, but this is the part of the ride that leaves me a bit divided. The pacing is incredible throughout the rest of these elements I'm about to discuss. Rest assured, you don't lose any shred of speed whatsoever. I can at least say that much. Also, I think the selection of inversions is actually quite nice. However, I was originally in the camp of people who thought this ride was actually pretty smooth. Throughout the entire first year of operation, all I heard were negative comments about this ride's roughness, and I just didn't see it myself at the time. After my most recent rides, I think I see why so many riders were commenting on this. Every second of the ride after the dive loop is non-stop bouncing if I'm on an outside seat. Even on the inside seats, it's still a bit shaky. I'm not talking about mild shakiness like Banshee at Kings Island. I'm talking full-on bobbing up and down like I'm being shaken up in a champagne bottle. I usually have a high tolerance for this kind of thing, but I find it a bit concerning that so many regular people I've spoken to, not coaster enthusiasts, have the same complaints. I spoke to at least 5 or 6 random people in the park the other day who told me this ride is way too shaky. The fact that it's the newest in the park is kind of ridiculous to me with how shaky it is because Raging Bull and Batman are far smoother, despite being multiple decades older. Now that I've gotten my one major complaint out of the way, let's briefly talk about the rest of the layout. There's a whippy 0G roll after the dive loop, which flings you into what I guess would be called a downward helix, or maybe just a sloped left turn. Then a corkscrew, which flips you to the right. I really like this corkscrew because you expect to continue to the right afterwards, but you're suddenly pulled left into a barrel roll to finish things off. All these elements are decently forceful as well, and like I said, you never seem to lose speed. There are a few more turns after this, both of which are definitely the bumpiest parts of the ride. Look, I don't want to come across as a complainer. I'm grateful Six Flags Great America was gifted a new thrill coaster, and I think it's a great ride. It just has its flaws is all. In my ranking video, I put WRATH above Viper. But if I'm being honest, I think I prefer riding Viper to this ride, and Viper isn't even a perfectly smooth ride, so you know it's serious if I say that. With all of these observations in mind, I'm feeling a decent 7 out of 10 for WRATH. It's a bit of a temperamental ride for sure, but at the end of the day, I'm glad it exists, and I don't think this park would feel the same without it. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown of my thoughts on WRATH of Rakshasa. If you enjoy this type of content, consider liking and subscribing, as it helps my channel grow and allows me to make more content like this. If you made it this far, thanks for watching.